Hello, BZPower. This is Zatth, and welcome to another episode of Meet the Staff. As I said many times before, that rhymes and totally on accident. I did not plan the username like that, but it would have been cool if that had been the case. As you know, this is the show where we talk about the face behind the monitors and the people who are in charge of running BZP and, showing that they're pretty cool people behind because they all are, and I can vouch for all of them. Luckily, some of them, I have only met online or through Skype, but luckily, Kakaru, who is on the other side of the screen that hopefully you're seeing right now, Premier Reporter on BZP, whom I got to meet a while ago. We will talk about that during the interview. So, Micah, how are you doing tonight?
Good, how about you?
As I said before, procrastinating on, schoolwork, so don't do that, kids, but do watch the episode, because it's gonna be a fun hour, or half an hour. We'll see how it goes.
Vegetables.
Alright, so, before we begin, do you want to show us what set you will be building today?
Yes, I am building the Lego Ninjago Master Wu's Dragon.
Ooh.
I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with the set. Nicholas Voss, one of our BZPower members, is actually a set designer, and this was his first independent project, I guess. So I'm really looking forward to this. It's a really great looking set.
It's a really, really pretty set. Yeah, the graphics were jumping out, the everything, so should be a fun build, and it's going to be a fun conversation. So, with that, let us begin with the first question, staple of Meet the Staff. So, Micah, you're going to have to choose between these four. Which one do you prefer? Awesome Sauce, Cool Beans, Neato Burrito, or Chilled Legumes?
I would have to say I use Neato Burrito more than anything, so I'm gonna go with that.
Okay, any specific reason why, or is it just the flavor of the Neato Burrito, or just the?
Neato is a great word, and it's just burritos are great.
It's there you go. See, Micah had the prop and everything just to prove how easily Neato Burrito rolls off the tongue and how easily burritos are. They're just so delicious and delectable. Oof, it's just. Alright, with that out of the way, and knowing that Neato Burrito is the preferred term of choice by Micah, we will go with the first question to talk about Micah and his life as a LEGO fan. So, what's your story with LEGO like?
My story with LEGO, I guess I got into it, me and my brother really got into it back in like 2002, 2003-ish. We both bought I guess it was prior to that, we had a couple sets for Christmas. Like, everyone had the big tub of Legos, but the decision came when, me and my brother first went to, our local Kmart, and we were actually like, okay, now we personally want to buy Lego sets. We bought, the Green Bow Rock, the original Green Bow Rock. Layvok?
Yep. I think so, right? Yeah, Layvok.
Layvok or Layrock, one of them's Orochi, whatever. Yeah. So that's when it started, and then from there it just kind of snowballed. Me and my brother both got jobs, and a significant portion of our income became actually buying Lego, and then it just kind of
ballooned from there.
Just got worse from there.
I feel that you started and you never looked back.
Basically.
That's good. So does that mean that you started with BIONICLE, or were there any other kind of LEGO themes that you were into before?
I would say I was really into the Creator line. I remember having an old Creator robot. It was the big blue one released back in 2003-ish. Big, kind of very Gundam-y. It had the head and the antennas, and
it had the big shield thing, right? Kind of.
Yeah. The shield. I was really into that, and just building robots and vehicles, obviously, like everyone was, I suppose. And from there, it was just kind of a natural transition. I just decided I liked building with BIONICLE more. It was just the big robot translated very naturally into
So basically, what I'm hearing is that when the reveal about Maranui came up, suddenly it all clicked together and it made sense.
Yeah. I do like giant robots.
Right? It's people do not appreciate that as a plot point enough.
It is kind of underlooked for something that's, they've been planning since 2001, since the beginning.
Yeah, although I guess, I don't know. I wanted to say that conversely, I guess it's good that, it took us this long to realize. but it could also mean that either, you know, the Bionicle fandom was maybe just not actively looking for that at that point, because I feel like if they had been, we would have been able to figure it out pretty quickly, because
Yeah,
we're
I feel like if we were looking for the evidence for a giant robot, we probably would have found it, but
but Greg could not have confirmed or denied that, so we would have been at a
fair.
standstill at the point. But you know, we figured it out eventually. So that's cool though. I mean, it's nice. You know, when you hear the generic, or not generic, but the overall themes that people were into initially. It's nice to hear that you also, you know, kind of from early on also kind of pinpointed, you know, the big robots and how that progressed from the creator line into Bionicle. Um, how were your first years with Bionicle like? What was that like? I mean, memories of the website, of the story, of the sets.
Um, so I remember getting the first sets. I remember looking through all the promotional material and the little stuff that comes in the canister, you know, the back of the booklets, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember imagining kind of a story in my head that I just kind of built out of it because I wasn't subscribed to the Lego magazine at the time, and I didn't have any of the comics. I didn't have any of the reading material, any of the supplemental material. So for me, it was just kind of this. Everything I derived from Bionicle was like purely aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was all based on the feeling I got from the pictures from Liwa in the jungle, from Kopaka, you know, in the ice. Like it was just all like, oh, this is really cool, and it just kind of stimulated my imagination. It wasn't until a couple years later that I started getting the comics. I was like, oh, there's story to this. There's actually character to these. I'm not just making it all up.
Yeah.
Um,
So, based on that, then I'm gonna have to ask. I feel like, you know, we've all at some point, at some level, done this, but I feel like with that question, I definitely had to ask. Any headcanons that you had before the comics and things like that, just based on the pictures, or
oh boy, original headcanons.
hmm.
The big tall guys were evil, and the little short round guys were the good guys.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a big one. I also distinctly remember thinking the little green guys are clearly jungle element and not air element. I'm right now.
Yeah.
Retrospectively, 15 years later, I am correct. So don't feel bad about that
You were
one.
you were just chronologically displaced.
I was chronologically displaced. I was just into the wrong generation.
But now you can look back upon it, and you have the benefit of, you know, age, and you know, people looking at you as a wise sage advisor, and you have the experience of years ago looking at the comics and knowing that is jungle.
Yeah, at least now I know.
Exactly. See, it got validated all those years. All you needed was the time for you to be proven right. So moving from the you know, the kind of creating your own ideas from the comics to actually uh, getting the supplemental materials and things like that. What was it like discovering the real story for the first time, and kind of when did you jump then into the official story, and how did that transform the Bionicle and Lego experience for you?
You know, I remember. So obviously, I derived a lot of the promotional material from what little I gleaned from online, and like the little CD-ROMs that came with the Rockshi and the animations that were in those were super cool. And I was like, oh man, there's this new Toa. Like, who is this? And
Mm.
finally subscribed to the Lego magazine right at the end of the 2003 arc. So
Okay.
the very first comic I had was the one where Vakama stands up on a rock and says, "You were not the first Toa."
Oh
And I was like,
wow.
I don't know what that means, but I'm excited.
I just like the
Um,
idea of the giant cliffhanger being there and being like, I have no idea what's going on, but let's find out.
I was the cliffhanger did not hold as much emotional significance for me as it did for other people. That's all I'm saying. Um, but no, it was nice. For that reason, I'm particularly attached to the Metro Nui years,
Mm-hmm.
2004, less 2005, but 2004 was just when I got really, really immersed in it.
Yeah.
When the Vaki came out and the Metro, I was
Yes.
just that was like the peak of my investment in the line. I think.
Yeah, I feel like it was an interesting year story-wise. I think that because of the combination of, the kind of plot twist of, oh, this is like a, prologue story in a different island, and the new build at the time, I think it was definitely an interesting year, and I can definitely see how it was a good year to kind of get hooked up on the story.
Oh yeah, and I mean, retroactively, once I had the magazine, I started actively seeking out the material, and it was, by the end of 2005, I was fully caught up on everything, all the prologue, all that. So I don't feel like I missed out on anything. I know.
Yeah, and I feel like, once a Bionicle fan and you catch up on all that stuff, it's like you were there from the very beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is.
It's also because, I mean, it's, I feel like it's the nice thing, not only to have the materials, but also the wonderful community that kind of helps you through catching up on stuff and discussing all kinds of crazy theories and stuff, which is always,
absolutely.
It's always a good plus. So, before we talk about the community, though, let's take a look at the set. How is the dragon going?
Oh, it's going great. I haven't even started the dragon. I'm working on the little cart that shoots discs. It's kind of like this.
Ooh.
I have all my ghost figures assembled here.
Interesting.
Yep, almost done with this section.
Cool. So, what kind of mechanism are they using to launch the discs? Is it just like...
It's the 1x4 brick here, and the disc is inserted in it like that, and that basically just uses kind of the friction pinchers, a la, the Zamor sphere launchers, to
Interesting. Huh. So I'll have to ask, Dory. I'll have to ask. How do you feel about a launcher like that? Because it's just, I mean, talking about like the Zamor spheres, it kind of, I feel like in some ways, you looked at something like the Zamor spheres, and they were small, compact, nice, while the Midax Sky Blasters were like this giant thing. And so, I see from the phase that you.
I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of how compact the launcher is. It's just a 1x4 brick, sort of like the blasters they're using on the new Star Wars sets. It's a 1x4 brick with a spring loaded in it. You put the projectile in, you push it down, and it just launches. It's like a very compact version of like the much larger spring loaded blaster.
Interesting. Okay. Good. Because I saw the shape and I worried. I was like, ooh, it looks like a big brick. But okay, hearing the compact aspect of it is nice. That's good. Hooray for LEGO for creating another launcher that will hopefully be very successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now that we have done a quick look at the set, we will continue asking about the community. So, you gleaned the story first from the comics and your own imagination. Then you actually sought out the materials, probably checked out BIONICLE.com and other stuff. And I feel like sooner or later that eventually, as with all of us, led us to that small little corner of the internet known as BZPower.
Yeah, it did. In about 2004, I think, for a small time, there was actually an official link on the Bionicle site to a couple of fan sites, and that was how me and my brother first found it. It was like us, and it was Mask of Destiny. Can I say Mask of Destiny? I don't care.
I think we've mentioned it in all the other episodes as well, so we're good.
It's fine. Censor that later if you need.
Yeah, exactly.
So we found BZPower. We realized that there was a much larger and more active community that was, centered around a building and critique and feedback and all this kind of thing. And it was just, I lurked there for several years, and just, it really opened up this new world to me. This, oh man, there's a lot of support for like what I'm into and what I'm interested in. It was really, really inspiring, and I think that's what kept me going for a long time.
Yeah. So you found the website. Did you sign up immediately, or did you lurk for a while?
I lurked for about 3 years.
Okay.
About 3 years, because I signed up at the beginning of 2007, and that's when I finally asked my brother to create an account, and he was like, okay. And that was it. We chose a username. It was originally a shared joint account, and after a while he was like, yeah, that's all right. Yeah, it's your account. You use it more, so.
Oh.
I think.
So nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Any big memories that you have from BZP, either from when you were lurking or when you first joined? Anything that kind of sticks in your mind all those years after?
Yeah, I remember watching the BBC contests. I
Mm.
remember seeing a lot of those and just being incredibly inspired by kind of the range of things people were able to build and just all the new parts and the new colors and just creating these like gorgeous looking things. I was like, I want to do that. I want to build. And my initial goal when I first joined the site, because I believe I joined to enter BBC 41. It was the Build a Titan, I think.
Oh yes.
I think it was BBC 41. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mm.
I joined to enter that contest. So I guess you could say the purpose of me joining that site was I wanted to win a BBC contest.
It's a good goal to have.
All right. So that didn't happen. I wasn't very good, and I'll own that. I wasn't very good for a long time, but I stayed invested in the community. I remember lurking in the Bionicle Base Creations forum. I wrote a comedy or two. Thank God those are lost with the archive.
I feel like those of us who've been long enough, we have those. We have at least that forum post, or that's something that we created, that we look at the great cataclysm and we think there were some gems there that shouldn't have gotten lost, but those that we made, those, it's good that they disappeared forever.
There's some stuff there that it's best to be lost forever, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I had fun. I had a lot of fun. Those were good memories to me. Even though they're embarrassing memories now, it's good at the time.
But hey, as long as they push you going through BZP, because I think that's one of the important things and the nice things about BZP is that I think that we all have those kind of memories of something that kept us going. And I know that we talked about this when we met up in Portland about the kind of creators that inspired us, that we remembered back then, and that kind of A, paved the way for us to want to create our own things in the community, but B, kind of made us stay for long enough that we've now become, or hope to become, that next wave of creators that inspires others.
Yep, exactly right.
Yeah, it's a lot of going back to just thinking about the influences, because I think it's a big question that I think a lot of authors and artists get asked. They ask them, oh, what's your biggest influence? Oh, where do you get your inspiration from? So, talking about like the, first years of BZP, seeing the people who entered the contest, seeing the people who, made the masks of humor or the rise and fall of the Toa on BZP. Who were your first kind of influences? Who were your first inspirations from way back when?
Wow. So I guess I really started perusing mocks and stuff. Like I said, I first got involved in the BBC forum and looking at those entries, and from there I discovered Brickshelf, because that's what everyone was using to host at the time. I discovered a few exceptionally well-known creators there, notably the Arvo brothers, who I believe you're familiar with. I think we discussed them before. They built that like big Iron Man. Like,
yes, yeah.
Arvo was one of my big influences. Obviously, people like Legoholic and Nate and Zhang. I remember distinctly this gorgeous Bionicle creation called the Rack, and it was this big black, like, not Lovecraftian, but who's the architect?
Frank Gehry?
No, not Frank Gehry. Not Frank Lloyd Wright. The guy who did all the architecture for like the Alien sets. H.R. Geiger.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was this very like Geiger-esque, like big, like monolithic monstrosity. I started looking at it really closely. Started seeing these repeating patterns, these like brilliant shapes. I was like, oh my god, those are Bionicle.
Right.
Like, that's incredible what you can do. And that builder's name was Cajun, or Bryce McGlone, and he's an incredible dude. I really think that he was one of those first like people to take Bionicle and turn it into a much larger like art form. This more well understood and accepted. It wasn't just building figures for him. It was building forums, and it was building ideas, and that's what really inspired me. Was it just his interpretation? Just this, I don't know. It was really cool. It was really cool, and it inspired me a lot. It just.
I feel like I'm gonna have to transcribe that whole thing, and I'm gonna embroider it, and I'm gonna carry it around and say, "Look what you can do with Bionicle." Because that was no, I mean, in all seriousness, that was such a good way to describe it. Because it is the thing, and I think that we've also had our fair share of the more mainstream Lego people being like, "Oh, Bionicle's not a real Lego," and then
Real life.
yeah, no, exactly. That's the thing. It's just like I think from one too many conventions, we've had our fair share of that. But I think it is nice to have those people who, um, I mean, I guess not that we take it more for granted today, but I think that it is much easier now, with the pass of time and the litany of brilliant builders out there to see people who really create art out of Bionicle pieces. But to be able to talk about and point about those first kind of trailblazers is such an important thing to point that was what BZP kind of did for us, what Bionicle showed that we could do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But of course, you find BZP, you lurk around for a few years, as I did as well. You finally join, you make mistakes that get lost into the annals of time, and nobody has to ever know about because we've all had one of those. But sooner or later, you post enough, you lurk enough, you do enough to get noticed that you get asked to be one of the select, to be part of BZP staff. So, tell me, Micah, how did that happen? How did the process start for you?
How did that happen? I mean, I guess you know about the email that every new staff member gets from Black Six, and I'm not going to spoil it because he still uses it, and it's still a terrifying experience for new members. But I got that out of the blue one day, and I said, "What on earth is this? What did I do? What did I do?" And I opened it up, and the email says, "We would like you to be staff." And I said, "Oh God, what did I do?" Because I had no idea. I wasn't particularly active. Eventually dawned on me that I was part of a writers club on BZPower, and I guess my writing prowess was one of the things that led to me being brought up when they were looking for new nominations for a reporter, and someone brought up my name. They knew I was active as a writer. They said, "Hey, I think you would be a good reporter." They were wrong, but that's beside the point. That was basically the recruitment process. I wasn't actively seeking it. I wasn't trolling the forums trying to get proto or things like that. It just kind of, I was in the right place at the right time, I guess.
It's the important part is you got asked to be a staff and you got promoted, and the world is much richer for that. So you get the email, the terrifying email. You get asked to be staff and you get promoted as staff. What's it been like so far, being a staff or being specifically a Premier Reporter?
It's the process is pretty straightforward. It's you write a news post once a week. We have the authority to create featured posts for creations and things like that. Obviously, we can't feature our own, but I don't know. It's very straightforward. All we do is control the content that appears on the front page. So I'm the worst at this. I have not written a news report in over a year. So, I guess I'm still technically staff.
It's okay.
Thank you, Ed, for not firing me yet.
It's okay. Life happens. So
I promise if life gets less catastrophic, I will get back into it. But
it's okay. Again, life happens. Again, BZP. We would love to devote all of our time to it, but we have to pace ourselves here and there.
It's true. That's why I try to tell myself, as I tell myself, I will come back someday.
It's okay. It's okay. We know that it's going to be a glorious return, and that it's not out of evil intent. Before we continue, though, let's see how the set is going right now.
Oh geez, I have so many small pieces here.
Small pieces!
I'm right in the middle of a thing where it's asking me to build a vignette. It's very nicely. I think it's the gate. Oh yeah, it's the really nice looking gate.
Interesting. So the set's got, let's see. Oh, yes.
Building that right now. I think after this, the last 3 bags are for the dragon. So I'm gonna get to that. I will get to that.
That's pretty good. Yeah, no, it's nice, seeing the Ninjago sets. I'll admit it, I have not followed the story enough, because again, life happens, and I have not had the time to binge watch all of Ninjago on Netflix, but soon, someday.
Same.
And so it's nice to see that the sets have, their own little thing going on, and seeing that they're still fun enough for those of us who sometimes see a Ninjago set and think, I might get that.
Yeah, it's this build is really neat. It features a lot of really unconventional techniques, stuff I have seen from designers in a really long time. There's this I don't know. I like to brag about Nick because he's got this brilliant sense of design and just this really unconventional way of looking at things and thinking about the way pieces fit. And right here, this entire connection here, it uses one of these little cannon pieces on top of the stud here,
right,
and then uses whatever. It puts a golden cone in facing the other direction, and then this
wow,
to create this just decoration, and that's all it is. It's decoration, but it's such an unconventional way of thinking about things and about putting it together. It's just
that's fantastic.
Cool.
That's so cool.
It makes it a lot of fun to build. Because you can tell that a lot of thought and a lot of just personality went into this design. So that's
right.
Really exciting to me.
Right. You just for those of us who build with Lego, you build something like that, and you kind of have to pause and think, "Wow, that's good."
Yeah, you have to stop and appreciate it. You go, hold on a minute. That's really, really smart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's one thing to, either be a little kid or somebody who's not a big Lego fan and building whatever they're building, and either, make a mistake in the actual building process because they don't understand the instructions, or they build the thing and they don't get it. But for those of us, seeing the little things here and there that we kind of... It's almost like a hidden code. When you see one of those cool building techniques, be it from an official designer or from a fan, that you kind of have to go, I see what you did there.
Exactly.
And smile.
It's so fun because it really brings the designer's personality through. It's really just something you look at it and say, that's a personal touch. It's not something that, it's not like a desk job. It's not necessarily like he's going in and he's just lazily putting together, another truck design. Not to diss the truck designers.
Yeah.
But doing some gorgeous work lately, by the way. Hats off to you guys if you're watching this. Fair. Oh yeah, I believe Corvin is actually on that team. He's also one of our BZPower members. Regardless, it's just it's one of those things where you can tell that they're still incredibly passionate about what they build and about how it looks and how it fits together, and they're just excited to bring this design to life, and that's what's cool about it.
Yep.
That's what's cool about it to me.
See, if you didn't see that audience, you see that there's a pervasive sense of enthusiasm throughout all Lego fans, and that is why we are so cool. No, but it's definitely very nice to see that. Yeah, that it's not just a company that makes a product for someone just for the the money or the recognition. It's genuinely the fans and people who are excited about the creation, very visibly showing their excitement about the Lego, which is so cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, so with that, a quick check on the set, we are going to continue. So we talked about Lego, your life as a Lego fan, as a BIONICLE fan. We talked about finding the story, finding the site. We talked about finding BZP, being part of the staff. but we don't just exist in a online kind of vacuum. Although it would be nice because we could devote our time just to online pursuits. But life eventually shows up, and so we have to balance that. So, what is your life as a Lego fan within your life? Do people know about you being a Lego fan? Is it something that you hide away? You just don't talk about it? You wear it with pride?
I'd say it's definitely something that people who know me know I'm into. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they've known that for a long time. So,
Mm-hmm.
since I was 13 or 14, people would go, "Oh yeah, like Micah's really into Lego. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, here's a cool thing I'd like to build. Like, hey, can you build that?" And I was like, "Yeah, probably."
So you're their go-to builder, which is good.
Very much the go-to builder among my friends and family who exist outside the community. Obviously, in the community, within the people who build,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like, oh, you just build. It's more like we're just friends. So like the dichotomy is reversed. Like
Interesting.
people who build Lego know me as someone outside of the Lego sphere,
Mm-hmm.
and people outside of it only know me as the person who builds.
Interesting. That's a really cool way to put it, I guess. Yeah, that's really really interesting. It's also I just keep I really like the idea of being the go-to builder for the people outside. um,
Absolutely.
have you noticed Lego kind of seeping into other facets of your regular life, or is it kind of
It
hasn't?
I notice a lot of situations where I'm doing something with people who are almost entirely unaffiliated
Mm-hmm.
with Lego, and suddenly Lego will just come up in general conversation, and someone will go, "Oh, oh man, did you know Lego is doing like Star Wars sets?" And I was like, "I did know that. I am aware of
Yeah,
that."
it's like I'm actually hoping to get some of those maybe.
The other day, I'm just like, walking through the Fred Meyer with someone, and they just go, "Oh man, did you see these new like ninja sets? Like, I love that dragon." And I just like, he's pointing at this dragon specifically. I just go, "Oh yeah, I know the guy who made that."
Yeah, you're just like it's so satisfying, right? To just like be able to belt those moments when people are like, "Look at me."
Kind of casually name drop in there, just yeah, that's right. I know people in Lego.
It
I'm
is.
second important.
It is. It's here's the thing. As somebody who has worked with kids, there is no greater way to get kids on your side than to tell them that. Because the best thing is like you tell an adult, and sometimes they might not believe it. If they don't know that you're a big Lego fan, they'll be like, "Do you really know them?" But when you're telling the kid with all honesty, you become their biggest hero. It's either that or going to a Lego store or a Toys R Us and buying your own Lego as an adult. It is such a satisfying thing.
Absolutely.
You just walk up, there's these kids with their mother, and their mother's like, "No, we can't buy that right now." And suddenly they see this one person, no parents in hand, walking with $100 worth of Lego sets. And they're like, "I want to be like that when I grow up."
And I stand there with my set and I say, "You can't have your Legos, but I can have mine."
Right? And that kid is like, "Oh, I want to be angry. But he's so cool."
Yeah,
It's
they aspire to be me, and that's important.
that's how you know. That's how you know that those kids they're doing something right by having that kind of role model in life. um, so it's interesting though. Looking at the kind of progression that Lego has seen. For people who read, the book From Brick to Break or things like that, they know the story of Lego in the 90s, Lego in the 2000s, and how Lego's kind of seen that revival right now. What have been your thoughts throughout all of this? I mean, you started with Bionicle very early on, and I think that in the same way that it happened to me, I think that we didn't realize until, maybe a year or two ago that Bionicle helped in a lot of ways to save Lego. But did you notice any major trends with Lego? Any major thoughts on the ways that different themes got developed? Any thoughts on the cancellation of lines or maybe some unwise or conversely wise business decisions by Lego? Any thoughts on that that you've seen so far?
There's some very broad topics to
Yeah.
talk there. I would say canceling Bionicle.
Mhm.
Very good decision.
Okay.
I don't regret saying that.
That's fine. That's and if you'd like to explain yourself, just for those who might be wondering or grabbing pitchforks, not that they should, because I agree with you also, but I think that it'll be
start typing your angry comments in the reply topic. I'm going to start explaining myself.
exactly. If you do it with all caps and at least 20 exclamation marks, we will definitely read them. Sorry.
Angry people start getting angry. All right. Bionicle, in its later years, had begun to stagnate, and I'm sure you're all familiar with the Inika torso build. And it was basically just that hip block connected to that entire piece with the arms, the armor on front, head, and then just kind of vaguely lazy variations on design. The problem wasn't necessarily that it was a formulaic design, because we know that. Like the entire Hero Factory system is based on a consistent formulaic design. The problem was that it wasn't versatile enough for those pieces to mean anything in the long run. After you bought your 15th set with a whole bunch of silver weapons and a bunch of generic armor that only fit onto one or two limb pieces, it was kind of that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And right near the end, I remember I completely fell out of the story in about 2009. I believe that was the Barra Magna saga.
Yeah, I think that's when it started.
Yeah, I didn't follow that at all. To this day, people will make references to that saga, and I say, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't follow any of that story. It was no longer interesting to me. It no longer held any of the mystery. There was no... like you say, there's no sense of spirit in the design of the sets or in the characters or anything like that. And I feel like the designers too were tired of it. And they were tired of repeatedly churning out these designs over and over and over. And finally, they said, "We need a break." And that's what it was. They said, "We need a break," and they stopped. And they did Hero Factory for a while, just to do something new, just to see if it's interesting enough to keep going. And 5 years later, they said, "All right, we're good. We're recharged. We're feeling passionate about Bionicle again," and they just came back full force. And boy, that first line just knocked everyone's socks off.
Yeah.
So cool, so cool.
The presentation at Comic-Con, it just showed that they were excited about it, and they wanted us to be excited about it. That whole day was really, the Lego designers and just the Lego company in general being like, "Yo, Bionicle is coming back. You're gonna love it."
They showed up and they're like, "Hey, we're exhibiting at Comic-Con," and people go, "Great, what are all the Legos?" And they say, "It's just Bionicle. That's the cool one. We are promoting all of that all at once.
Yep.
Bionicle is important to us." And it's like, yes.
It was fantastic.
Yes.
It was also so cool because, when Bionicle started, obviously it was big, but it was just the first year of Bionicle. People didn't know it was going to get big, and now looking in hindsight, knowing what it is, Lego could afford to be like, "Yeah, we'll build a humongous Mask of Creation out of Lego bricks. Yeah, we'll have this giant screen showing the video for all of y'all."
Yeah. Knowing what it is and having kind of that recognition, among people who were fans the first time, or just people who remember Bionicle and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I played with Bionicle when I was a kid. Like, oh man, it's coming back. Bionicle." Like,
yep.
Oh wow. It was just really exciting for everyone, and all of a sudden they had that recognition and that kind of ability to connect with the fans and say, "Hey, remember that thing you like? Here it is again, and here's even more to love about it." Like it was so cool. It was so cool.
Yep.
I'm really passionate about the new wave of Bionicle. I haven't been this excited since 2004 when I first really got into it. You know?
I wholeheartedly, the points that you talked about earlier on, I think that a lot of people either don't want to think about them or really don't know that they exist. But it really is, I think, why Bionicle ended up failing. Pieces that were so specific, but in a bad way, and then just a story that was becoming more convoluted than good. I mean, we talked about this back in. In Portland, that I think it was, I asked, "Do you remember the names of the masks from 2007 or 08? No, it's just there was so much lore, but like not even in a way that you could learn it. It was every 6 months they were like, "Hey, here's part of the story, and now we're gonna move to something entirely different."
It one of my favorite analogies is this. People like to say that the Bionicle story is deep, and I say no. You use the word deep to mean it had a lot of content. The problem is that you can put the same amount of content into a single condensed container like this, and that's deep. Or you can put the same amount into a pan, and it's shallow. It's spread out. There's no consistency. There's no depth to it. That's what Bionicle was. It was spread out. It was a lot of details that just didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything. I don't care that, what's his name from the 2007, comics, that little Matorian in the background had a random mask and it had a name and it had a power. I don't care. I genuinely do not care. That was artificial depth. It didn't mean anything. I'm a little frustrated that there are still people out there who say, I wish that they didn't do away with the mask names. I wish that there was more specific names for, the protectors and, the heroes. And I'm just like, I don't.
Yep, exactly.
I genuinely don't. I feel like it's more immersive when you're allowed to jump in and out of it, and it's more welcoming to new fans, and there isn't just gobs and gobs of unnecessary lore. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And the design team talked about this, and they said, we specifically wanted to do away with that to make it more welcoming to new fans, because all that stuff, it was so complicated, and it was unnecessary. We wanted to simplify it and just make it more accessible, and that's important to me. That's really important to me, that new people can get into it and get excited about it, and not have this weird brand of gatekeeper fans who go, oh, do you know the specific power of the Kanohi Kaiden? No, I don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't, and why do we need to? It's so good to have people like us who were there from the beginning, and so because of that, we can actually say, look, we've been there. We know what it means to have the names of every mask explained, and tell people, please, we respect you all and we love you all, but just try to understand for 1 second. This is why Bionicle went down.
To say, trust me, this is a bad thing. You don't really want this for your line.
Yeah.
But, again, I know that's kind of a controversial opinion. Whatever. That's how I feel about it. That's why I feel like it failed. It just got too wrapped up in its own artificial depth and too concerned with the minute details to preserve that larger sense of mystery and this adventure on an epic scale that those older years had. And that's why it failed. And that's where I feel this new line is still going strong. It's still preserving that sense of just a grand adventure and this mystery. It's super cool.
Exactly. It harkens back to 2001, but not to the level where granted, in 2001 we didn't think it was that deep and convoluted, but 4 or 5 years down the line, as information started piling up, it was there. And I think it's nice looking right now in 2015 thinking, okay, there's a story there, okay, they're developing a story, but there's not a plethora of information that 2-3 years down the line is going to end up hurting us in the long term.
Absolutely.
It's such a nice thing. It's just so special to see that Lego and the Bionicle team really, really, really understood that. It just shows that they have really thought about not just, rebooting Bionicle the way that it was, but rebooting Bionicle as the way that it should be in the future.
Absolutely. Taking what they learned from their mistakes the first time and saying, here's what we got right, here's what we want more of, and here's what we did wrong, here's what we need to cut out. And it's more refined. It's just a better experience for everyone. It's so cool.
Exactly. It's gonna work so well. People, there's the haters out there, and they are entitled to their opinions, but I think that in the future, history is gonna prove us right.
That's how I feel. I genuinely believe that.
Fingers crossed. But yeah, I think it'll happen. So let's do a quick break to see how the set is going right now.
Oh, nice. I'm right here in the middle of the set. Oh wait, here we go.
Let's see.
Here's kind of the torso of the dragon. You can see it
Interesting.
shaping up the connection points for the legs and the wings.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what's really interesting: the wings aren't connected by bricks, like the traditional brick with the joint in it.
Oh.
It's connected by these, which are attached via like friction joints, so they have like a little bit of movement to them.
Interesting.
It's really neat. It's a really
Wow.
subtle piece of design, and there's some really clever mechanics going on in here.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool.
And it's such a subtle thing that you wouldn't otherwise like think of.
Right.
Like if you're tasked with building a dragon, you'd be like, all right, the brick joints are the things, and somehow you just went, I want it to move a little more. I want like a little better connection here.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's I don't think it's a phrase by Picasso, but I think it's somebody else. It's simplicity is the hardest thing to do. And that shows you just how that small change can make such a big difference.
Oh, absolutely.
And also just a really cool change. Really, really definitely adds that extra level to the dragon, yeah. Okay, so that is checking on the dragon. Let's see what we continue with now. So now we're gonna talk a little bit more about memories. Any fond BZP memories that stick out? Anything BZP related, and it can honestly be anything that sticks out. We can start talking about conventions if you want, because I consider that part of BZP memory. So.
Oh man, I don't know. There was a lot. I remember. Oh man, just a lot of time spent in the BBC forums and just receiving feedback, and it was just it was a really different experience for me back then because it was we had a shared family computer, and I didn't get that much time to myself online. So it was always incredibly exciting when I got on and my sister gets off the computer like, oh man, it's my turn. I go on and log on to BZPower, and we didn't have notifications, we didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
So I'd go into my forums where I knew it had topics posted, and I'd go in and refresh them manually and scroll through my topic. I saw a thing that's like, don't do that. And I see the thing that's like, oh man, it's a new reply. I was like, oh, I'm so excited! I can't wait to see oh man, someone's talking to me on the internet.
Yeah.
That was cool back then. It was people talking to me on the internet. But seeing that, or seeing the notification for a new personal message, it was it was so exciting to have that sense of community and looking through my topics and seeing the replies and conversing with people and
it was just so good.
Starting volunteering to work in a banner shop in Artwork 2. Was it Artwork 2 at the time? We merged them now. I don't remember. It was called Nathan8472's Banner Shop. After Nathan8472. I don't know if he's still around. Shout out to that guy. You're still cool. I wish we talked more. Just working in a banner shop, taking people's requests and churning out their banners. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Taught me a lot about design and working on a deadline and taking other people's requests. And I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun memories about it. I tried to make a comic about it once. It didn't go anywhere. That's fine.
Oh.
That's also lost in the archive.
So that's one of the memories that is good, that has been lost in time.
I think so. I feel like it's in time. I hope it is.
It's well. Here's the thing. I was thinking about it. I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna say, well, in the future, if somebody has a time machine of some sort, they can go back in time, collect that embarrassing material, and bring it here. But then I was thinking, but then that would mean that because it's a time travel paradox, it would have already been done. So they would have already. So the material would already be here. So because it's already not here, means that either they have not developed time machines at all, or it means that people have the tact to not bring it back.
I'm hoping it's that people don't have the tact.
Yeah.
I feel like if someone tried to bring it back, that's the reason time travel would fail.
Yeah. That's where it would all start falling apart.
Someone would use it to go back and necromance someone else's embarrassing mistake, and that person would just just get beaten up, and that's why time travel doesn't exist.
Yep. That would make for a very good comedy or epic on BZP.
Oh boy.
The Great Dataclysm.
Listening, you have my permission to write this. Please write this.
Do it. It would be very good. Especially somebody with time travel experience. At least 3 to 5 years of those. They can be retroactively applied. So sorry. It's a lot of Doctor Who. It's being here in England. You can't stop. We have fun. No, but so that was BZP memories, and now with more specific life memories. As a segue into the world of conventions and making friends, because I think that is one of the nice things about the BZP community for a lot of us. It hasn't just stayed to the forums. It's expanded into attending conventions, making new friends, even something like New York Comic Con, I consider as that. So, let's start off with conventions. What's your convention life like? What has the convention scene been like for you?
So I've only really gone to a couple of brick conventions.
Okay.
I normally attend BrickCon in Seattle with my family. That's one in October, and since I'm living in Portland, I do Bricks Cascade, what was formerly known as Brickfest. It's a brand new thing, whatever. The one that used to exist in Portland completely died, and then someone else started doing Bricks Cascade, so I attend that still. It's really nice. I've been attending conventions, generally speaking, since like 2009.
Okay.
I've met a lot of people both in and out of the BIONICLE community. It has definitely shaped my personal life and the way I interact with people.
Yeah. Is that a live audience?
Oh my God! It's Patrick. That's blog leader DV and blog assistant Nukaya. Hello there.
The audience is waving hi. Wave hi, audience.
Oh no, it's too late. Oh jeez.
We need the time machine.
So I guess you could say that meeting people at conventions has shaped my life in a very positive way, and I've been able to meet new people, and it's now one of those things where we no longer think of each other as like BZPower members. Like,
yeah.
I remember attending conventions for my first time and meeting people and being like, oh my God, they're BZPower staff. Like, oh man, it's so cool that specifically they're staff and that I am here interacting with staff. And then after a while, I just kind of forget that that's how we know each other.
Yep.
And I'm just over here hanging out at blog leader DV's apartment, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're friends now. Sometimes we go out and get coffee, and I don't even think about the fact that we met on an internet forum. We work together. That's really weird. We both work at the same store.
That's such a nice thing to hear. I think that for a lot of us, for a lot of different factors, be it that where it's Bionicle, or that it's Lego, or that it's online. I think for a lot of us, it can be very, not scary in a bad way, but I think that it's that whole I just remember 10 years ago when they would give us the talks, either our parents or at school, being like, don't talk to people on the internet, and it's true to an extent, definitely, but I think that I think that it's nice to be able to think about these friends that we have, and think that years ago they were just a name on a screen, and that we met them knowing maybe first their username, but now they're just another part of our life, and it's kind of hard to imagine life without those friends, and I think that is a testament to the community that we're part of, and to the greatness of Bionicle, not only as a toy line, but as really a catalyst for bringing really cool people together and bringing those people into their own lives.
Absolutely, that's very introspective of you.
It's just I really heart the community a lot.
No, it's true. I mean, same. But yeah, it just gets to a point where I think back and I think, if I hadn't found that site, and if I hadn't joined, then I literally would not be where I am today. Like,
How crazy is that?
that that's all it is. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, there's always this very at conventions. There's always this very nerve wracking like first experience when you meet someone. You go, oh man, I've only known their name online. Like, I respect them as an ambiguous authority figure on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and like, oh no, what are they like in real life? Are they like super scary? Are they going to ban me for something? And then yes, I got banned for something. I was like, hey, don't ban me. And then he was like, cool. And then he banned me. Shout out to Black Six for banning me for a weekend.
It's okay.
That was
It's part of your hero's journey.
it really is. It's that redemptive arc.
Exactly.
Where I was like, don't ban me. And he's like, and then he banned me. Or maybe I was like, do ban me. And then he banned me.
Oh, see, that's a sign of humility there.
I don't remember if I was asking not to be banned or specifically asking to be banned. Irrelevant. I was banned for a week, and I am officially like an ex-staff member / current staff member / ex-staff.
That's see, and that's the really fun thing about thinking about something like BZP in the community is that yeah, you can talk about being a member, being banned at some point, now being staff, and also while being part of this online community, being able to go to Lego conventions and not just going as an exhibitor or somebody who watches, but going with friends who started on this website. It's just such an interesting and kind of lovely in a lot of ways, convoluted, wonderful mess to be in a good way, of course.
Absolutely, like 100 zillion%. I have to build 2 of these.
Two of let's see, what are you
Two of this leg.
Interesting.
Weird leg design.
It'll hopefully make sense in the long term once the dragon comes together.
I think so. I think this will make sense.
The dragon awaketh. Yeah. So convention wise, that was good. How about something like New York Comic Con? I know that we've kind of alluded to it a lot here, but what was that like? Being able to go to New York Comic Con, being able to be there for the return of BIONICLE, being
Wow.
Yeah.
That was an incredible weekend. Oh man.
It's hard to put into words.
I am having a hard time describing it in words. It was an absolutely insane weekend. I couldn't believe that it happened. That I was invited to that event. The entire. You were there for the VIP event at the Lego store, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It was. It felt like something out of a dream.
Yeah.
That sounds cheesy, like ridiculously cheesy, but it's absolutely true. It was being at the Lego store and then being like, all right, here is like a dozen bins full of the brand new 2015 Bionicle parts, and then we were all just going nuts, oh man, oh, and then we start building. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then the guy just goes, and whatever you build, you can take home. And I was like, I've had literal dreams about this exact situation.
Yeah.
Like, it was just absolutely insane. I was like, okay, time to build something big and terrifying.
Yeah, something that just tacks on as many pieces as I can.
Sure, that's what I did. I feel like most people did that.
Yeah.
A few people tried to exactly replicate some original sets, and waste of time. I hate to say it was a waste of time. Good for them.
Yeah. And I feel like it's good, if you want to let people know what the set is like and what it's like. But I feel like, as a Bionicle fan, you want to have those pieces.
As a Bionicle fan, I was like, I want to have those pieces.
Yeah.
I'll buy the official set when it comes out, and then I will own it. But I want the pieces right now. Because I build them.
For real, yeah. Exactly. It was just such a cool day. I mean, even from just having the big kind of exhibit area with the potted plants and the mask of creation.
Yeah.
the screen showing us for the first time the art style, showing us the new lore for G2. Just
Yeah,
so
I was
cool.
super into it. It was just an absolutely overwhelming experience. It was just,
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it was happening. It was just,
just
man.
right. It's just you. It's hard to put into words, but just the excitement of it.
If, yeah, I mean, if I could go back and do it again, that entire insane weekend and everything that happened, I would do it. I would do it exactly the same way.
That's why we need time travel.
That's fair. I would hopefully have more money because I was broke that entire weekend
Oh
and that
no,
sucked. That
it's
was
yeah, especially as you go to Comic Con, and it's I mean you can control yourself, but it is the most painful thing to look at everything there and be like,
yeah. And I don't mean a little bit broke. I mean like I withdrew my bank account and I was negative $60 for the next 2 weeks after the first day there.
but it was worth it because Bionicle.
Oh, it was worth it. It was absolutely worth it. Okay, so that's the one thing I would change. I would go back with more money, but
I
other
like
than
that.
that, do it exactly the same because it was so cool.
It was so good. I mean, I just remember just the group of big Bionicle fans that were all adults standing in front of the screen for a good like 20 or 30 replays trying to catch the story, the audio, the everything.
Oh man, what was his name? And then you just sit there and you're just like, I gotta watch the video
Right,
again.
just all over
Just,
again.
I remember seeing that for the first time, as our entire group walked into that hall and we stood there staring at the screen and like it finally came on and just chills, just goosebumps, all the hair on
Yep.
my arm just stands up and I was like, oh my god, it's real, it's happening,
Yep.
it's here. Oh,
That's when it
adrenaline rush, man.
That's when it clicked. That was it's just such and I mean, the way that you said it, Micah, it really was out of a dream. I mean, it is genuinely the kind of thing where as a 7-year-old Bionicle fan, you're lying there after building a set and thinking, how cool would it be to meet the designers and play with some of the unreleased sets, or being like, or how cool would it be to be able to see the story first, and then 20.
Yeah, just how cool would it be if I was just playing with the sets and then someone was just like, yeah, you could just whatever you build, you just get to keep. Like, I was like, oh man, that's the dream. But that legitimately never happened. And then it did.
And it
And
did.
then it did. Oh man.
It's
Oh
just
man.
it's so good. And it's also it happened and it happened with us as adults. So we were able to validate we still love Bionicle, we still love Lego, we're still fans, and it paid off in the end.
And it paid off. And it
We-
paid off.
It was I mean I'll flat out admit it. I was very egotistically glad about that.
The same. I mean, there was not a moment when I wasn't thinking, I'm glad I'm part of this community. I'm glad that I specifically get to experience this, and maybe a little bit of arrogance too. Maybe a little bit of, haha, I get to do this, and other nerds don't.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I was like, man, suck it, my 10-year-old self.
Yep. No, it's true.
I'm cooler than you.
It's true. It's just such a great. I mean, it's also because yeah, that's the thing. We're older. We can look at it with joy. We're in a place like Comic Con for the Return of Bionicle, and being able to, it wasn't just us. It was us with our friends that we've made through the community. I think that's what also made it so just lovely. Because it's one thing to have a lot of fans for like the reveal of something. It's another one that those fans are really friends and just
Absolutely.
so cool.
Absolutely. I mean, it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't made the friends I did. If I hadn't, been involved in the community. And that's what's exciting to me about the return of Bionicle and about the return and the resurgence of like this community is that, who knows, in another 15 years,
Hmm.
maybe our involvement and our inspiration for the next generation will lead to this kind of a new group of fans who is selected to go to the reveal of Bionicle 2026
Yep.
at New York Comic Con, and they're going to be the ones experiencing that and being there firsthand, like, and that's gonna be so cool, and just other people getting to experience that would be so cool. And I really hope that's what the community does for people, and it leads people to be able to experience those things as well. Like that's
It's just such a great feeling.
absolutely.
It's amazing. It really does give you that sense of the long lasting nature of something so well planned, so well created, and so loved by so many people.
Absolutely.
So where do you see things going in the future? Where do you see Bionicle in I mean, from the way that the sets are going, from the things that we found out at Comic-Con, where do you see the Bionicle community going? Where do you see BZP going?
So, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2003-ish was when I bought, I think it was my second or third Lego set, and I remember playing with it in my living room, and I was like, oh man, I can't believe they've got new Bionicle sets are coming out, like they'll just keep coming out. And I remember my parents making an offhand comment like, huh, like I wonder how long they'll keep coming out with new Bionicle sets. And I stopped and I was like, how long will they do that? Like, it legitimately never occurred to me that there might be like a limitation to the longevity of a Lego theme. I was like, I don't know, maybe Bionicle will continue forever.
Right.
And it didn't. And it didn't because it got stagnant and because they needed to move on. Whatever. BZPower is older than MySpace. Think about that. BZPower has outlived MySpace.
That's wild.
That's weird. But it's just this. Lego is the largest toy company in the world.
Yeah.
Like, he just recently surpassed Mattel.
Mm-hmm. I think so,
that was
right?
just last year, right?
I think so, right? There was an article about that.
It was something like that. They're the biggest toy company in the world. Our site has outlived MySpace. Bionicle is back. It's better and it's stronger than ever, and they have the single largest market in the world. I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon.
Yep.
And maybe that's a little arrogant, but even if the site itself goes down, I feel like some reincarnation, the fandom will always live on. It'll find a community and a format to bring itself back. This community will always exist. And the way it's going, I don't see it going away.
Yep.
I don't see it going away. I know a lot of people joke about, we'll all be on BZPower when we're 50, and I think there's some truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if it's something you're passionate about, you're never really going to outgrow it. You see AFOLs who are in their 50s or 60s, and that's fine. It's a universal. It's just kind of a universal system. It's very easy to be very passionate about, to keep going, and I feel like that's the way the Bionicle community is. It's something that is going to always exist in one form or another.
Yep. And I definitely think that is just maybe not a side effect, but I do think that is a nice component of the community. Is that community will probably exist, but furthermore, the community is going to find ways to continue existing and find ways to link up with people and stay linked up.
Absolutely.
And it's such a powerful thing. It really is, because it's the thing we're talking about. It's Bionicle returns, and it's not just the people who were fans. It's the people who were fans, who stayed fans, and who became friends with other fans, which adds that extra level of meaning to the return of Bionicle.
Yeah, and there's people who are incredibly invested in it, and people who are casually invested in it, and there's this just myriad of just different types of fans. The ones who are just super obsessed, and the ones who are just kind of like, it's cool. I bought a set. I kind of like it. There are just so many layers to how people enjoy this, and there's. I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that.
It's okay. I
just got really excited, and then I just lost my train of thought.
It's okay. Train of thought. It's. I blame the dragon.
It's It's true. It's very hypnotizing. I'm working on the eyes. It's
Let's
like,
see. Ooh.
nah!
Wow, that is very. I'm getting this very like Mushu feel.
It really is. It's let me finish it and show you because this design is super super cool.
I'm very excited. I like that we've like gotten the little snippets throughout the meet the staff, and then it's all gonna come together.
Yeah.
Where are in terms of the build? Is it like nearing completion, kind of?
I'm going to finish the head and then I need to do the wings, but the majority of the dragon is completed at this point.
Cool beans, yeah, because it's interesting seeing the that it's the dragon with the like little vignette and the little minifigs as well. And I guess now I talking about something like the Mushu thing, I have to ask the question. Uh, is there anything that you have a certain kind of bent for building? Is there any kind of genre that you'd say that you'd build? Any kind of medium, specifically Lego or Bionicle wise?
So I build a lot of Bionicle, and for a while I was reasonably invested in the general Lego community, but
Okay.
I feel like you can look through my Flickr stream. I'm not sure if you have it anywhere.
See if we can find it.
Yeah, here. Let me send you a link to this. I
Please.
like building Halloween. I like building, and not like
Mm-hmm.
edgy grimdark Halloween because that's dumb. That's boring.
Yeah.
I don't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
But Halloween in a vaguely like Tim Burton sense, like the bright, colorful, just exaggerated characters and these wild, just the festive side of Halloween.
The fun.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my latest creation is a decent example of that. But I like replicating general forms and ideas without getting too specific to the source material.
Yeah.
I built a couple of like Gundams last year, and they weren't based on specific Gundam models because that kind of opens up this alley for unnecessary criticism. Like
right.
Oh, you didn't get this exact shape right. So I just kind of like generally emulated like the feel of like wing era Gundams.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh yeah, it does look like something that would exist in that era. So I like building general concepts,
Mm-hmm.
and I've kind of phased myself out of building from specific source material.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just very into that kind of neo-gothic vibe, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about that. And just wild characters. Just the Mad King of the Moon is one of my favorites, and I have to show this. This is one of my here. I feel like that really encompasses my style and my general ideas for building.
Let's see, it's loading. Aha, there we go. Let's see. Ooh.
Yeah, can we like post a link to that when we actually put this interview up so people know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I'll definitely post a link. I'm going to see also how I can show it in the screen here for people to look at it.
Oh, nice. It's a little blown out, but it has googly eyes, and it's a lot of fun.
That's so cool. It's so nice seeing and looking at it right now. Looking at all the little details just adds so much more to the model.
Thank you.
That's so cool. Yeah, because that's one of the fun things. And again, it goes to the discussion we were having about the people who figure out the ways to do kind of like greebling with Bionicle or add these small, almost imperceptible levels of detail that can make a lot of difference. And I think that you've been able to exemplify a lot of that in your building. The samurai. Peter Quill model, even that the Mad King shows those little ways that you can use the right colors with the right pieces to really cause a really cool effect.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Oh man. Oh, nice. Okay, here we go. The head is done. Check this out.
Bum. Are you ready, audience? Oh, wow. Oh, that's fantastic.
It's got this incredible, like you say, this like Mushu vibe, like it's very like traditional Chinese dragon sort of feel to it. And the thing I like most is up here. You see where these croissants kind of make horns and stuff here? What's
Oh.
really impressive is there's no way to attach these. So what he does is he attaches them to a handlebar via these clear discs, which then attach to the croissant itself. Like, the entire assembly is just floating,
Oh, that's fantastic.
but it makes it look like it's attached right here. It's just, it's incredible, the effect it achieves here.
That's
Like,
amazing.
and the way he uses the clips to create the pupil of the eye here, and then
Oh.
also uses it to create, like, this eyebrow. Like, wow. Wow.
Oh, I'm gonna. Oh,
Oh,
see,
wow.
I'm looking at the head right now, and I want to get the set myself.
It's
Ah.
it's what, like $42 USD, $40 USD.
That's amazing.
This is absolutely worth the money, by the way. If you buy one Ninjago set ever, make it this one. That's true.
That's fantastic. See, it even speaks, audience.
I love this
Oh,
so
that's
much.
that's lovely though. I mean, it's just again. I know we were talking about the you know the idea of creating a set and adding that certain level of detail, but that really is the perfect example of that principle.
Absolutely. And even holding it up to the camera, it's just, this doesn't even do it justice. Like,
Yeah.
you really have to see this in person to appreciate just
The level of everything
the
there.
detail and the level of thought and the level of care put into this. Just wow.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing. That's so good. That's so cool. Sorry, I just that was I'm still reeling over the croissant being attached and looking how it looks attached. That's so good.
Right. 100%. Like, that's incredible. Anyway, that's a tangent because I love this set.
It's okay. That's half the reason why we build it is so we can see some real cool stuff. And that's definitely showing the idea of a really cool set. How what's the suggested age that they have on the set?
8 to 14
Wow.
for adults.
Yeah, no, that's the reason why I'm like, because that build is, it's a shame that it is gonna go unappreciated by those who don't know enough about the building because.
Yeah, but I feel like it might be one of those things where, 10 years in the future, some kid who, like, got this for Christmas is going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember having that set when I was a kid, and he looks it up online, and he buys it, and then, like, he puts it together, and he's like, oh, man, I was really missing out on some stuff in this set, and then, like, and then it occurs to him, like, how cool this set was
Yep.
when he was a kid, like.
I hope that happens because it really is, it really does prove to you that those nice nostalgic memories that you have weren't just nostalgic just for the purpose of being from years ago. It really shows that you had good taste. And that the reason why, that set was liked is because there genuinely was something there under the surface that really increased the value of the set and increased just the awesomeness of it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Do you have any sets that are like that for you? That you kind of have looked back upon years later and have either wanted to get because of how good it was, or wanted to get to rebuild again and see if it really is as good as you remember it?
Yeah, for a long time that was Brutaka from the 2007 line. For a long time, it was Brutaka. I just remember him being like this big tiger, was just really hulking.
Yeah.
And I finally found him this last year at a vendor's booth at a LEGO convention, and I looked at the set, and I just kind of turned around, and I was like, oh,
Huh.
This is less impressive than I remember. I'm really kind of disappointed. I was
Yeah.
like, okay. All right, I guess that's a little bit of closure for me. It's time for me to move on.
That was you burned that final bridge from G1 and you were like, I'm ready to let you go now.
Yeah, I was like, all right. BIONICLE is over.
Oh, yeah.
Time to invest in a new one.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. It's like we gotta save up the money for the new sets coming up that can be built with the CCBS system.
Exactly. Yeah, but sets that still hold up. because I haven't gone back to look at them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I still really like the old NBA arena.
Okay.
The old basketball set.
Yeah.
I was looking at that the other day. It's a lot smaller than I remember it being, but it still holds up. Like in terms of like play function stuff, it's still a really fun set. It's still. I kind of want them to bring back sports themes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something they didn't properly explore. Like it went
Right.
through like 2004, 2005.
It's just kind of there, and then yeah.
I feel like they could still make a good basketball themed set because there was a lot of fun to play with. But I don't know, maybe that's just me.
No, I totally agree. I think about the hockey ones that were kind of that weird like Technic mix, the ones that like you press the head and it kick. That was such a fun thing.
Plus, I secretly like the hockey players with like the masks that fit on
Yes.
like heads. Everyone else thought those were useless.
I think no, exactly. I mean, hey, you proved it with your samurai that you can still use that and it looks amazing. So, jokes on them.
Every piece has a use.
And so yeah, and that's actually, I guess a two-part question. First, how do you figure out how you're gonna use a piece in your building process? And B, just because of the CCBS discussion, how have you noticed that CCBS has entered your building style? So I guess the first question: how do you discover other uses for pieces?
So this is very much kind of a traditional question that a lot of people get asked during like a public exhibition at LEGO conventions. It's how do you know what piece to use? Like how do you know which pieces fit together? And my answer is always I don't. I have no idea. I sit down to build something and I have a general idea of the shape I want it to be.
Okay.
And the color I want it to be. Like those are the two big things I have in mind before I start anything else. It's the shape and the color.
Okay.
So what I do is I spread out my entire collection. It's not color coordinated. It's a complete mess. That's how I build. I like it that way. And I spread it out. It's a complete mess. And I just start gathering pieces in the colors I want.
Okay.
And pieces that vaguely look like they might emulate a shape that I want. I just gather them all together, and then I start like one by one, like putting them up to my basic frame. I put together a basic frame of the model. I start putting them together and go, okay, like this might work if it's shaped like this. And then if I find something that really, really works, I go, okay, this will actually work. And I go, how do I attach it? And I look at the attachment points on the piece I'm holding up to the model and the attachment points that exist on the model. I say, how do I build a bridge from here to here?
Interesting.
And from there, my building technique is just building the connections for the overall shape. And sometimes it's twofold. Sometimes the piece I'm using has a connection that helps supply another connection and just, I don't know, helps the model come together. But that's... I think that's very much how I build. It's very just hold up the piece and then figure out how to make that piece work.
That's a really interesting way, especially of describing it. I was thinking as you're talking about it, as somebody who does a lot of creative writing, that that if you're a creator of some sort, it is interesting thinking about your method, even if it can't be explained, that those things that you instinctively do or that are part of what you do, and that sheds a little bit of light on how it is that you make things.
Oh, absolutely. It's it's very much a I don't know. BIONICLE is a really weird system because I'm sorry, I'm looking through the back here for a piece I'm missing. There it is. BIONICLE is a really weird system because, contrary to every other building convention, just the ideas that exist in the building community, we don't look at details. We look at connection points. Like, that's very much traditionally how we've been trained as BIONICLE builders. You see an armor piece and you think, how does this armor piece fit onto this arm piece?
Yeah.
And not like, oh, this armor piece has ridges and it's shaped kind of weird like this. That's not the piece I want to use.
Right.
So once you kind of break out of that mentality and you stop seeing exclusively at the connection points and you start seeing the shapes and the textures, and you can just refine your building. You get this more concise flow to it to say, this piece is the right color, and it has the right connection point, but it's not the right shape. And the shape is ultimately the most important part of the model. It has to look good. Otherwise, it's the equivalent of just of coloring something in with crayon and to say, oh, it's red, and it attaches, so it's it's filling it. It's a very rudimentary way of communicating ideas and breaking into shapes and beginning to explore the aesthetics of design. And that's really where you start to push yourself and push your own personal boundaries and say, what can I do with this medium? What can I do with Bionicle pieces in this context?
Yep.
I know everything I just said is mega pretentious. Please edit that to make me sound less...
No. I think it's very, very, very good, and I think it is actually very, very useful, because I think I think it would be pretentious and bad if it was somebody who didn't know what they were talking about, like me. But I think that somebody who is able to show creations that actually exemplify the things that we were talking about earlier shows that. And again, and I think that people realize that what works for one person doesn't work for everyone. But I think that for people who at least have no idea what works for them, it is nice to hear that way of doing things, that kind of approach that is taken, and to see then the fruits of that, and see how you maybe reached some conclusion in one of your models.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
I gotcha. It's trust me. I've seen the creations, and even I myself, I'm like, what?
It's how I used to feel for a long time looking at other builders. I said, I want to be that person that builds something and everyone else looks at it and goes, how did they do that? How did they know to make it look that good? And I'm not sure I've reached that point yet, but I appreciate you saying that. It means I'm on the right track.
Oh, I think you're way beyond that, because I think it's, if nothing else, I mean, something like just talking about the ridges. I'm sure people have talked about this, but it never reached me from what I know. So this is the first time that I'm hearing something that should be easy to understand, but makes a lot of sense once it's explained, and explained by somebody who is able to really, give the full explanation. It's not just like, a Q&A saying, like, how do you build? And you say, oh, you look for ridges in the pieces. Actively explaining how you combine them, how color comes together, how you use the skeleton maybe sometimes and see how that connects. The idea of, the bridge metaphor of how do I connect these two pieces, how do I bridge them together, I think is so useful to being able to conceptualize that.
And I mean, and this is a discussion I've had with a lot of people. I remember talking to some people in the general community about just creating character through work, and not just building something that's just there, just that kind of vaguely resembles a form, but to specifically put thought into the individual details and to say, how does this exemplify the type of character? How does it kind of help me portray this specific idea? And like you say, like maybe it doesn't occur to a lot of people, and I think it's important that we open up that kind of discussion. I feel like that's what causes the community to stagnate in a lot of areas. It's just this lack of discussion and this lack of desire to push design further and to say that this is good, but it can be better.
Yep.
It's nice that you've built this creation, but how do you refine that more? And it's a matter of exposing people to these ideas. And I never would have gotten into this if I hadn't started talking to just people in general and exposing myself to a wider range of ideas outside of the Bionicle community, and talking to people who said, okay, like, this is why I don't build with Bionicle. Like, it's so weird. Like, the pieces are all textured and they look ugly and I can't use them. And I thought, like, that never occurred to me.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about the pieces that way. I started thinking about how other people view them, about how to use them, and it really opens up to you. It opens up this whole new idea and this whole new realm of thinking. I think that's that would absolutely help the community a lot. Is just I don't know, being more open to understanding why we build what we build.
Yeah.
And how we put things together.
It's not just pulling back the curtain. It's pulling back the curtain and talking with the person to show them what it is that you've been trying to show them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's a really good metaphor, actually.
Yeah. So it looks like the set is almost done.
Very close. No. He's trying to sit on the dragon. Sit on the dragon.
Sit on the dragon's head. It's a very pretty head.
This is so cool.
It's so that's no. Just looking at the scale of it is amazing right now. Wow.
This thing is, and it's a very concise build. Like, it's a large dragon. It's a large set, but it's so concise that you can easily hold it. It's very swooshable. It's this
good. Its swoosh factor is good.
It's got these gorgeous wings, and I love this so much. When I was first looking at preliminary pictures,
yeah.
His use of repeating shapes to create kind of a consistent texture on the wings.
Oh yeah.
Golden circles, kind of in concentric,
wow.
It just and this consistent smaller gold circles layered over larger white ones, just in multiple areas. He just brings it together,
that's amazing.
Visually brings the entire model together. It's so cool.
That's so good. I really hope it inspires and teaches kids how to better kind of design their own things as well, because that is really kind of a master class in a good design scheme. And
absolutely, I feel like this is a perfect set as a case study. This is how you do it right. There's brilliant stuff in here, in this hip block, the way it connects these two golden bands on the belly and on the back, and he just puts two little golden pieces in here, even though it's partially covered.
Oh wow!
But it creates just enough consistency that it's got this. It's so cool, and again, I'm talking about character and design.
Yeah.
You see, he's got a little genie's lamp on top of this, and it tells a story.
Right.
That's what's important to me. It tells a story. It says this is Sensei Wu and his magical dragon that he summoned via this lamp. Maybe it's a genie. There's a lot of character. There's a lot of just story behind this.
You want to play with it not just because it looks cool, but because you get the sense that there is something else going on there.
Because you get the sense that there's a larger story to this, that there's more going on to this set than just being a dragon. It's just, I initially bought this set, A, because it's a gorgeous piece of design, but B, because I wanted to use some of the pieces.
Yeah. I'm
not going to be able to use the pieces. I think I'm going to keep this set together just for display. This is absolutely gorgeous.
It is, yeah. I think that would be, not that I'm trying to pass any judgment, but I think that would be a very good choice because it's lovely set.
Absolutely. Hats off to Nick. Wow, dude. This thing is amazing.
It really is. Yeah. Your jaw drops just like the dragon.
It really does. I'm gonna buy a second one so I can use the parts.
Yeah, because because that's the other thing also, right? It's Nick had to be so great that not only did he build a fantastic design, he also had to make such good or put a good selection of pieces in there.
100%. Oh man. And check this out. I'm not sure if you can see this properly, but check out the extra pieces this comes with.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
It comes with a huge assortment of just extra pieces and really, really cool ones. We've got golden lightsabers. We've got those new neon green katanas. This neck bracket in brown. Just a whole bunch of new azure blue studs.
And for the price that it is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So I know this is kind of a combo interview / set review. This is absolutely worth it. I was 90% broke when I bought this set. This is worth the money.
So it was good. It was a good choice, definitely.
100%. Absolutely no regrets buying this set.
I mean, if nothing else, just from the head, I'm already sold on it.
You're always 90% broke. I'm always 90% broke. Fight me.
It's okay. Here's the thing. You're broke in the wallet, but in spirit, you are rich. You see, that's...
I like to think of it that way.
There you go. So, does that mean then that we are finished with Wu's Dragon?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Alright, so final thoughts, definitely, to get the set.
100%.
Good, I'm glad to hear that. So, audience, you heard that. Not only did you hear that, you saw how fantastic the set was built. And I think we might have a review of that later on, but this is like the preliminary, like, you should definitely think about getting it. We're just gonna, like...
If you have the money, pick this up. And not just because it's a good display model, not just because it's a good case study, but just you have to experience this build for yourself.
Yeah.
There's some incredible stuff that I wasn't able to touch on, but just really subtle, incredible pieces of design. If you have the money, please pick up this set. If you don't have the money, please put it on your Christmas list.
Yeah.
Please do that.
Good,
This is
good.
so worth it.
It has Micah's seal of approval, and you saw his creations, you know that he knows what he's talking about. Micah, any final thoughts in general?
I don't think so. Keep building, guys. Keep pushing the envelope of design. Just go out there. Keep building.
There we go. See, you saw. It's not that hard. It's got its magic to it, but sometimes even the most fantastic things have little tricks here and there. So keep building, keep doing your thing, and hopefully 10, 15 years down the line, you'll be at the launch of the new BIONICLE, and you'll be able to inspire a next generation of fans.
That's right. I'll see you there, guys.
Micah, thank you so much for joining us, for agreeing to the interview. It was a lovely discussion. I love talking with you, as always, and it just... These Meet the Staff series just shows everyone and reminds me again about bleh. Sorry, I can't bring today. I have the dump. It reminds me why this community is so lovely and why just all of y'all are so wonderful. So thank you so much, Micah.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Alright then, audience. Well, if you like that, remember to subscribe to the BZP YouTube channel. And also visit us at BZPower.com, where we will be showing all kinds of Bionicle and Lego news and community. You heard about community. It's awesome. You heard about the builders. You heard that they tell you really cool tricks on how to build. So join us. Subscribe to the channel. Go to BZPower. Everything is awesome. You are awesome. Micah was awesome. Thank you so much, audience. This was Zatth. That was Micah. And that was Sensei Wu on his amazing dragon with mouth. Thank you for joining us for Meet the Staff. Bye!